Good evening. Rupesh Sridharan is my name, and as one of the founders of One-to-One Connects, I welcome you on behalf of my team and our partner, SIFI, to this webinar on navigating the complex digital ecosystem with full stack observability. Today, our speakers and panelists will dwell on the limitations of siloed monitoring, how monitoring individual elements falls short in providing insights for overall system performances and availability, the importance of comprehensive observability, the role of AI ops in enabling comprehensive observability, and explore how Cephi's infinite FSO full stack observability is revolutionizing IT infrastructure management by providing a holistic view of applications and underlying infrastructure. At the end of the presentation and the fireside chat, we would open the floor for a Q&A. So at any point of time, if you have any questions for our presenters, please type it in the questions box on our GoToWebinar widget and send it to the organizer. We shall take them up during the Q&A session. It is now my absolute pleasure to call on our expert speaker for the evening, Sushant Dubey, EVP and Business Head Digital Services, Cephi Technologies Limited. Sushant, welcome. Sushant has over 2 decades of diverse experience in the information technology industry. He's leading the digital services business unit in Cephi and closely working with customers in co-creating new age digital-led business transformation initiatives. His prior experience, including sales, business development, and product management functions in global organizations, including IBM, VeriSign, and Red Hat, that allows him to drive successful digital transformation projects, delivering customer satisfaction across open source solutions, cloud-ready platforms, applications, AI, ML, and analytics. Once again, a very warm welcome, Sushant, and the floor is all yours. A quick reminder for the audiences, if you have any questions for our speaker, please do type it in the questions box in the GoToWebinar widget and send it to the organizers. So over to you, Sushant.
Thank you, Rupesh. And while that's a very long introduction, in short, I would like to say that I am amongst all of you as the learners, and within this group, as well as the larger group across the CIOs, CXOs of the enterprises and the organizations in India, I am also trying to learn how we can use technology, how we can leverage technology for better performance and providing better customer experience to our customers and our customers' customers. Greetings, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on navigating the complex digital ecosystem with full stack observability. See, in today's interconnected world, business like yours, like ours, encounter a myriad of challenges as they traverse the digital landscape. So today we will explore how full stack observability serves as the compass guiding organizations through the intricacies of modern technology stacks. Today we will discover how this comprehensive approach empowers business to gain deep insights, optimize performance, and ensure seamless user experience across every layer of the digital infrastructure. And that digital infrastructure, we will see that how the evolving business landscape is changing, how digital transformations, changing customer behavior, and global disruptions have reshaped the business expectations, driving the need for agility, resilience, and innovation much more than any other time. We will discuss about the challenges of the traditional monitoring approaches, where we will examine the limitations of siloed monitoring tools and the impact of fragmented data insights on businesses' ability to respond to dynamic market conditions and customer needs. We will then talk about the full stack observability and its benefits, uh, probably the tangible benefits that FSO brings to businesses, such as improved MTTR, mean time to resolution, enhanced performance optimization, and better customer experience. And we will then finally talk about the best practices and the implementation strategies. In short, because we have limited time today, but we will be very happy to talk to you one to one, to meet you one to one, to see how we can move further on this. So I hope that by the end of this webinar, you may have a better understanding on how full stack observability can help your organizations navigate the complexities of the new world we live in today, meet rising business expectations, and drive success in this digital age. And we go to the next slide, please. I'm not able to change the slides. Yeah, so when I was discussing on setting the context with my colleagues, uh, then we realized, and many of my colleagues said, why do we need to set the context, to set up the context? Because we are living in this reality, the new world where we live in, and the expectations from businesses. But then we thought that exactly this is the reason to remind ourselves that in this amazingly changing digital landscape we are living, it is important to realize what is going on at times. So as of 2023, and this is a data I always talk about because this is very fascinating for me. As of 2023, there are around 5.44 billion or 5.8 billion, if I remember rightly, internet users. And out of those, 5.04 billion are social media users. Now, if you see, 5.44 itself translates to around 67% of the world population, which is connected to internet. That's a huge set. And out of that, 62% are engaged with a social media platform worldwide. And this is with continuous growth trend. So that's the engagement volumes. That's the customer set we are living with. And that's ever increasing, I think 170 million per year. And alongside this, the population growth, the ongoing telecommunications development, the new infrastructure and technology improvements will continue to drive these numbers. Like I said, 170 million, and there would be more probably. This means that more and more people are getting connected, processes are getting connected, and organizations have to manage, build applications that are robust, scalable, and can cater to the always changing business requirements. And before I move further, just a very interesting thing that now data maintained by NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India, showed that an average of 40,000 to 80,000 crores worth of UPI transactions are made in India on daily basis, which is expected to go to 100 crores, 100,000 crores by February, or sorry, by, or maybe it is there, or in next few months. So that is a world we are living in. That is a digital world we are trying to go through. And before I move further on this, I would like to have a small poll. If you can change the slide, please. Which aspect of your organization's IT landscape concerns you the most? We will wait for the response for a few seconds. Okay, I'm seeing around 45% have voted. We'll wait for a few more seconds, then we will proceed. Okay, so if you would see, it's a mix of numbers. While there are application operations where there is maximum concerns, that is obviously linked to security, and that is eventually linked to infrastructure and network operations as well. Eventually, many of you would see have more than 50 or around 50% have seen all of the above. And this is exactly what we are seeing on the ground when we are talking to our customers, when we are talking to many enterprises. uh, can we move to the next slide? That is where we are talking about the challenges of the IT leaders. 20 plus, there are 20 plus data silos where 53% of the enterprises employ more than 20 plus tools. We have seen who are using different tools. And then there are noisy data, because most of the organizations we see get huge amount of alerts on daily basis, and it is very difficult to separate the noise of what is affecting what. And eventually that is leading to the large incident cost at an average of around $10,000 with mttr of more than 7 hours. So navigating through these challenges is a priority for all the IT leaders, because eventually the rising complexity of IT infrastructure, which you are seeing here, right from on-premise to hybrid cloud to multi-cloud, there is an increased reliance on digital first customer experience. Customer experience is the new KPI. Eventually, whether it is infrastructure, whether that is network, whether that is security, the applications, the customer facing applications are the key. Customer experience is the KPI. And and like we discussed, the digital world where maximum population is heading to. So there is an increased reliance on digital first customer experience, stringent regulatory demands for data security. The more we are on digital part, the more there is a requirement for regulatory and security requirements. And the fragmented tools, while some may have advanced tools, but still they are fragmented, and thus they are leading to the blind spots. Next slide, please. So before we both proceed further, there is another poll which we have, wherein we are asking, how confident are you in your organization's ability to detect and resolve issues across your entire tech stack? Okay, we'll wait for another 5-10 seconds. And and yes, while we can continue seeing the results, you would see that the majority is still saying they are somewhat confident, because there is lot of visibility which is not there across the IT landscape. And that is what we hear when we meet our customers. And exactly that's where, can we move on the next slide, please? This is happening because of the limitations of the traditional tools, where which are being used to monitor the current set of IT landscape, whether it is network, whether it is applications, whether it is security, or whether it is your IT infrastructures. Now, with the cloud native applications in this time, or the advanced applications which are built on containers, Kubernetes, there is a difficulty in tracing requests. Microservices architecture can be complex, making it very hard to identify performance bottlenecks or service malfunctions. And there are network related issues which are there in the network performance, in the network packets, which are very difficult to check and to take corrective actions if it is impacting our application performance. So there is fragmented troubleshooting, which is debugging issues, because debugging issues requires navigating across multiple services and data sources. Application performance can be impacted by poor network, or certain issues with infrastructure, or certain security challenges. And that is leading to extended resolution time because there is lack of context. Individual service metrics might not point the whole picture, making it very difficult to understand the impact of one service on the overall performance. And that's why, can we move to the next slide? And that's why we are saying that traditional approaches to monitoring and managing IT infrastructure and applications are no longer sufficient. See, these siloed monitoring tools and fragmented data insights leads to blind spots, making it very challenging for businesses to identify and resolve issues efficiently. And to thrive in this new era, organization must embrace a holistic approach to observability that provides real-time insights into every layer of the technology stack. I'm sure everybody is now aware of observability, but still observability is when we are moving beyond monitoring to see and to differentiate and to correlate the data sets. So with a lot of noisy data, very limited visibility, and overwhelmed teams during any application network outages, the need comes for observability, which is a step beyond monitoring. Next slide, please. And that's where we are talking about full stack observability. Full stack observability, or FSO in short, is a comprehensive approach to monitoring and managing complex system, providing insights into every layer of an application stack. It involves collecting, most importantly, correlating. That's a new aspect which we need to understand, and analyzing data from different sources across the technology stack. See, we were always collecting the data. We are looking at the monitoring data. But the bigger aspect which has come in terms of correlations of data and analysis of data with the AI technologies present today, with the computing power of GPU present today, the whole paradigm of observability has come to the play and is rapidly changing. And what are the key components of full stack observability are the melt data, metrics, event logs, and traces. And while you may know all about metrics, logs, and traces, just to simplify, metrics are like the scoreboards for example, for an online store, metrics could be like a scoreboard. They provide numerical data about the performance and health of your system. So for example, the number of orders processed, say per minute, the average response time for user request, or the CPU usage of the service is the matrix which you can see. Logs, event logs are like a detailed journal of everything that happens on your online store. So they record specific events or actions taken by users on the system itself. For example, each time a customer adds an item to their cart, makes a purchase, or signs into their account, a log entry is created with details like timestamp, user ID, and action performed. That's the log. And traces are like a map that show that the journey of a user interactions with your online store, for example. They provide a detailed timeline of events showing how different components of your system interact to fulfill a request. For example, when a customer clicks a checkout, a trace might show the sequence of events from validating their cart items, processing payment, updating inventory, to finally confirming the order. So analyzing this data, correlating this data, and then providing the observations, the insights, is something what full stack observability as a platform does. What is the benefit of full stack observability? There are humongous benefits, but to cite some of them, and in short, the power of full stack observability unlocks the growth and resilience because you have more visibility and proactive approach towards maintaining your IT landscape. The reduction of MTTR, there we have seen 50% faster issue identification and resolutions. Enhanced application performance, your network performance, your infrastructure performance. there is a 20% improvement in the customer experience matrix. And customer experience, I said, and we have heard, is the most important KPI these days. Stronger security postures, because you are aware, you are detecting things proactively. So proactive threat detections and incident response times. Optimized resource utilization, there is 50% cost savings through resource allocation insights, and there are improved regulatory compliance. You all would have been reading newspapers, and we have seen how certain larger institutions are stopped uh, in certain ways by regulatory bodies in doing their businesses for specific products and services which they offer. So this has become a very, very important factor for that matter. Next slide, please. And that's where we are talking about the composition of FSO, or say different interpretation of full stack observability. So for some it is end-to-end visibility. For some it is a holistic system understanding. For some it could be the business priority would be the proactive problem identifications. So the specific interpretation of FSO will vary depending on each organization's or each customer's individual needs and goals. However, the core principles of this of holistic visibility, data integration, and proactive problem identification would be similar, would be the same. And coming to the compositions of Infinite FSO, the components includes, like I said, the melt data is very, very important. So network performance monitoring, infrastructure monitoring, application performance monitoring are the key components from which the telemetry data comes, that is the melt data. And then we have a service management, service mapping layer, and then a service management and a visualization dashboard for the visibility. Now, if we look into deep dive into each component, that is network performance monitoring, infrastructure monitoring, APM, we would see that every of these aspects, NPM helps with the network performance. And so anything related to network topology, mapping and visualizations, root cause identification for network issues. In infrastructure, issues like resource utilization, CPU, memory storage, monitoring. Similarly, for application performance, the code level insights into application performance, the transactions tracing, and bottleneck identifications. All these are different kind of data, the metrics, the event logs, the traces, which are solving these specific problems. And over and above, with the power of AI, we have a AI ops layer, which is then correlating all this data across all components. And it is automating incident detections and ticket generations. It is the layer which is proactively analyzing and providing the predictive analytics for proactive incident and preventions. And so what is SIFI Infinite FSO? Which is, what are the building blocks? So as I said, for organizations to start their journey, if they already have these tools, the NPM, the IT ops, the SecOps, the APM, we can very well start with the AI ops layer. In case the organizations do not have all these tools, we start first building these specific components, the core. And that's where we have Cisco 1000i for NPM, for IT ops, App Dynamics, Security Ops Splunk, App Dynamics for APM. While these are the Cisco components, there could be different components at your end already. We can integrate with them. We have a layer where we do asset dependency map generation, how the asset flow is there, how are the asset dependency, uh, what is the asset dependency map. That process is automated. Then we take the batch data to make the learning using your XML data. We train the platform, and then that learning is provided on the real time data to provide the real-time predictive insights along the multi-domain telemetry data, which we get from your side. That's the AI Ops platform. And that's where our service management and visualization dashboard provides the predictions, preventions, and remediations of business services, availability, and performance issues across the network, across the application services, across the infrastructure and security services. So that is the foundation architecture which SIFI proposes and work with our set of customers, which we recommend to our customers when they are starting their journey for full stack observability, or when they are at a matured stage, whether they are in the matured stage or they are in the early part of their journey. We help them defining the steps and providing all these stacks and components at different levels. Once we have this, the whole approach is to provide a unified dashboard with the correlation of the data, helping organizations to have integrated workflows for faster incident response with automated responses and continuous improvements. I'm sorry I have to run through because now I am quite late with the time. What could be the outcomes? Outcomes of a full stack observability platform is proactive assurance, continuous assurance of outcomes. There are event correlation, which is leading to noise reductions. So multi-source integrations, whether it is cloud, edge, data centers, hybrid cloud. Faster incident resolutions, this is a key. The faster resolutions leads to low MTTR, leading to the cost. And faster root cause analysis, again leading to the faster incident resolutions because you get to know the root cause faster. What is our engagement approach? We work with you to have a 360-degree customer view, your priorities, your pain points, then define the business KPIs basis your business priorities, break them into application, infrastructure, security, network domain, and then we provide the real-time issue detections, quick issue resolutions with proactive customer support, continuous improvement, and then performance benchmarking for the overall platforms and your business requirements. So what is the next step with SIFI? We can help you configure, identify your current tool sets, and then provide you those relevant tool sets if you already have the integrations to configure your melt sources. We then work with other platforms and the tools to analyze the data, start creating the alerts for on the anomalies, correlating the data, because that's the most important aspect I said, and then ensuring that you have the continuous improvement in this always changing paradigm of digital landscape. That's how we help you in the overall journey of implementing observability as a platform, full stack observability as a service. I think that's all from my side. We can go on the next section of the webinar.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sushant, for your valuable insights and practical strategies. I request you to kindly stay back as we now welcome our esteemed panelists for a fireside chat. So first, let me call on Ravi Magluri, CTO, Digital Services, SIFI Technologies. Warm welcome, Ravi. Would also like to call on Anand Subramanian, EVP and Head IT, Kotak Asset Management. Welcome, Anand. Last but not the least, Vamsi Krishna, Chief Technology Officer, Access Mutual Fund. Delighted to have you, Vamsi.
Hi, I hope I'm visible and audible.
Yes, just a second. Yeah, so I think we have everyone now. And so Vamsi, let me straight away jump my first question to you. In the sphere of digital transformation, what matrices or KPIs does your organization prioritize to measure the success of, say, customer and partner engagement through digital initiatives?
Yeah, sure. So maybe, I'll start from a business standpoint before we go to tech and operational matrices. So from a pure business standpoint, one of the key matrices that we track is the cost of acquisition, right? The industry that I represent, my colleague Anand from the same industry is also here. One of the key matrices we track is, cost of acquisition. It's a distributor heavy industry, and therefore, if you the more you can acquire directly augurs very well in terms of bringing that customer acquisition cost for you, and also your retention ability. Therefore, once you have acquired somebody directly and is living on your platform for investments, the retention capability and the stickiness and the SIP vintage, etc., everything develops equally well. So that's one of the key business metrics. Now, purely to enable this from a tech standpoint, your core web vitals, right? That's how people discover you on the Google search or on the web, right? Your core web vitals have to behave very well, whether it is the largest contentful paint or all the 4 5 core web vitals, which Google tracks closely, therefore becomes the key metrics for us to perform well on, right? Including the ancillary metrics such as the average time to load, the average time to purchase, your end-to-end click to purchase, right? The time period that you take, these are other matrices. Now, to enable all that from an observability standpoint, what matrices that you really track closely, that's something maybe we can delve into as we move forward. But from a pure business and fundamental tech standpoint, these remain sacrosanct, and these augur well for our industry, asset management industry.
Yeah, good. Thanks. Anand, coming to you now, considering the demand for accelerated delivery cycles, even want to mention about that, what strategies or methodologies does your organization adopt to maintain both speed to market and reliability of critical applications?
Yeah, hi everyone. So basically, from a speed point of view, I mean, we did move our digital properties onto the hyperscaler about 3 years back. We started our digital journey by putting all our website, the online transactions, and what has always got observed is the amount of changes, the requirements, the business requests, the regulatory needs. The application demands obviously, are consistently changing every now and then, and it was very necessary that your system scale up to those levels of demands, and the customer base also going up, the reach also increasing, whether it's, as Mamsi mentioned, the distributors or retailers or institutional sales, or and again there is another touch point with CAMs or RTA. So it was very very necessary that we have the right stack in place, and that's where we decided, okay, let's move on to the digital platform on the cloud, and where we could see the benefits of what do you call getting things deployed on a much much faster scale than being on prem. Having said that, the reliability, of course, like there are so many touch points, right? It could be a network. When you are on prem, there is something, because we went live with our digital operations, there was still something lying on prem. A lot of things did go on to the cloud. It was very necessary that this entire ecosystem is kind of connected. It's running smoothly. Multiple touch points, as I mentioned earlier, that could be a network between us, between the cloud partner. There is a database that is running somewhere. There is the middleware which is running somewhere. It was very necessary to have this entire thing, working very seamlessly, and very essential to have. It's very easy, like system is not working, it's an infra issue, right? So how do you how do you kind of actually trace out where the problem is? And it's something that we did at our end. We did enable some of these platforms for us to see these, to get a the inside view of what exactly is going wrong, and you could actually tell the business side that, hey, we need to tweak this, we need to add some things here, or we need to scale up this particular area to get the right solutions in place. So very essential to have a complete ring view of what you're doing. Otherwise, earlier as everything was in silo, the infra guy would look into his specific area, the database guy will look into his specific area. There will never be any communication happening between the two, and each one will be only blaming the other. So very essential to have these solutions in place, and these have really helped us, give us far better insights than what it used to be earlier. The tats are far 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 more better than what it used to be.
Thanks, Anand. We have heard two users speak now. Let me try and get down to Ravi. Ravi, we know the specific interpretation of FSO, right? It may vary depending on customers' individual needs and goals. However, the core principle of holistic visibility, data integration, proactive problem identification remains the same. So, how would you like to expand on these core principles?
See, the question that you put answers itself in a manner of speaking. So you said holistic visibility. So which means that is what we do not have, but we have, like Anant mentioned and like Vamsi was trying, we have visibility today, but we have to look 10 different places, right? So, and each of those things will tell you where the problem is, but none of them will tell you why the problem is. For example, to put it very simplistically, somebody will say, if I go top down, mark my words, top down. So today, people are worried about my OTP is not coming fast enough on my mobile, and my UPI is failing, or I'm not able to log in, and my whatever transaction is that I'm not able to do. All these things are cascading so fast, and it results in loss in real time as we speak. So now, when we start investigating these things, so we'll put everybody in the room, or teams, or whatever way they collaborate. Then we'll ask them, hey, what is happening with you? What is happening with you? What is happening with you? And the people are, I will use a different way to tell what Anand said. People will be establishing mean time to ignorance or innocence rather than resolution. So we will be competing to say I'm not the bad guy, but rather than trying to see who is the cause of the problem. So that is the explanation for what does it mean to have no visibility full. So now, if you are relying on older ways, we were talking about bottom-up approach, right? So sometime back as a top-down. So historically, the monitoring and observations and all these things were going top-down. Oh, my firewall is okay, my storage is okay, my web server is okay, my CPU RAM is okay, everything is okay. Therefore, your application should be okay. If it is not okay, I don't care why it is not okay. Whereas today that doesn't work. My father used to say when things were not working, everybody was happy to close the bank and go home. Today it doesn't work like that. Today you are 24/7, you have to work, right? Your mobile is your bank. So full stack observability requires ability to perform root cause analysis by, ability to determine root cause by performing correlations, like Sushant was saying earlier. Meaning, to navigate that very quickly. So if the problem is in my transaction, is it because of database? Oh, is it really because of database index corruption, or is it because of storage IOPS? Oh, is it really because of storage IOPS, or is it because some virtualization is not working well? Oh, is the virtualization is okay, but my network is not okay? Or is the network is okay, but the firewall is not okay? So this is what happens today also. But we bring 10 people into the room and then we keep asking everybody, and like everybody will be fighting. Whereas we want to determine this data driven very quickly, and that requires you to understand the full stack observability concepts and principles and implement them. That's a little bit longer answer, but that's it. That's what it is.
Good. Thanks, Ravi. That gives us some first name. Now let me move on to a very critical component, which is obviously customer satisfaction. So Vamsi, customer satisfaction obviously plays a pivotal role in sustaining business growth. There's, there's nothing, no rocket science there. So can you elaborate on any specific measures the organization takes to gauge and enhance customer satisfaction in a digital landscape?
Yeah. See, again, I think, Ravi nailed it when he said, you have an incident, you bring 10 people into the room and go in a circular fashion and ask who got it wrong, and nobody will jump and say, I got it wrong, right? Rather, everybody will say, I didn't get it wrong, check with others, right? So our customer satisfaction, therefore, if you look at it, we would say if there is a we had a typical way of looking at QRC, also because regulatory regime needs us to track QRC closely. QRC stands for queries, complaints, etc. And queries, requests, complaints, etc. You are only looking at them. What about all those other people who never raised a QRC? Are they really satisfied, etc.? We never had that outside in perspective, right? Other than the CX officer, the chief of customer services, investor relations, coming back and presenting his view on QRC compliance, etc. Nobody really had an outside in view. You look at an airline industry, or you look at e-com industry, etc. The moment you purchase something, you get a NPS, you get a survey which essentially fits into an NPS. Unlike that, we were not very popular as an industry doing NPS, right? We started institutionalizing NPS as a program. So we now have a NPS program which is comprehensive and that covers channels, irrespective of whether it is digital or non-digital or phygital. Across the platforms, we have an NPS program. So at least we know where we stand, right? The moment a transaction happens, online, offline, digital, etc., we know how well did we do the job, and is this customer going to promote me as an organization and sell for others, right? So we started getting NPS scores, and therefore we have a benchmark now, and then therefore you're measuring something, therefore you can improve on it, right? There was no measure earlier, now we have a measure. So NPS was the key difference that we brought in this year. The second thing that we did was also around channels, right? We traditionally only looked at the usual suspects, your app, your website, and then you got our in our own case, we've got a RTA. These are the channels, right? Branches, etc. So WhatsApp is where you are you're almost omnipresent. Wherever you are present, you are also present on WhatsApp, right? And the average now hovers somewhere around 5 minutes that you check. Every 5 minutes you check WhatsApp. And therefore becomes one significant channel where you should be looking at customer satisfaction. So integrating WhatsApp and then offering multilingual support on WhatsApp, that was another key project that we have been driving at Axis Asset Management over the last 2.5 years now. Now we are in beyond English, we also do Tamil, Bengali, Marathi, Gujarati. We do a bunch of languages where there is a significant 10 crore plus population, right? We got those covered. So I think these are two areas that I would want to focus on even as we go forward. Yeah. So I have got an NPS target. There is a contribution that even as a techie, I am supposed to contribute to how we do on NPS. Of course, only to certain channels which I can digitally influence, but then I have a target there.
Yeah. Okay, great, perfect. Let's try and get Sushant into this conversation now. Sushant, could you talk us about Sifi's Infinite FSO platform? You did mention briefly about it in your deck, and what challenges it helps solve for businesses. You're muted, Sushant.
I think I have already said enough during my sessions, but yeah, let me summarize. When we talk about full stack observability, as I said, primarily we are building a overall view for the organizations to proactively look at the problem. They have the context because they will have the visibility across their IT landscape. And like Ravi explained, that instead of thinking where the problem is, or if the problem is only say at infra end or application end, they have a better chances to find out what is the root cause of the problem, which then in translate to solving that problem faster, so the lower MTTR. That is the platform we are bringing on the table. Now, as I said, we have different layers of the platforms, components of the platform. So when we work with our customers, and it depends on the customer priorities and requirements, and also their as is situations, their as is stock of the tools which they have. So if the customers already have the layer of tools through which we can take the melt data, we talk about what we can do with the AI ops layer. If the customers do not have the tool sets, say APM or a NPM, that's when we start putting those tools in places and then moving forward in their journey as with time, because then we demonstrate the value which we are bringing on the table by getting those layers, and then eventually reaching to a layer where we have the visualization layer. So in short, this is not a magic pill. It's not that I put a FSO today and I'm able to give you the return tomorrow. No, that's not the case at all. in any AI journey, in any software journey, in any IT journey, it is said, but specifically for this platform, because the system learns, and the system learns from the data which it's getting from the organization itself. So yes, once we start this journey over a period of 3 quarters, 4 quarters, we see the value coming in, and that's where then we get out to the highest layer or the full stack observability platform, and then we start getting more benefits. So yes, it's a journey which the early one can start is better, because eventually everybody wants to have lower MTTR and providing better customer experience. And I think Anant here would be the would be the best guy to talk on how they have started this journey and how they are reaping that benefits over a period of time. I mean, started to get certain
Right.
benefits.
This is a perfect segue, I think, for Anand, to bring Anand back in onto this. Reflecting on your rollout of FS, what specific advantages or improvements has the organization experienced in terms of the operational efficiency, fault detection, or incident response? I think you would be the best person in this room at this moment to answer this.
So as Sushant mentioned, I mean, I was pretty frank about it. It's not simply plug and play. There's a lot of effort that does goes in, because first of all, everyone needs to understand the landscape that the system is operating on. The multiple things, multiple layers, right from an infra to an application layer to the security layer. And if something is not working, you need to know why then that is not working, right? So you need to ensure that all these touch points get covered. So it takes a lot of efforts between us and the development teams, because and then there is also sometimes you're calling in certain third party APIs on which you have absolutely no control, right? So how do you so where I mean when we went on this journey, our biggest challenge was when our performance, we were facing some performance issues on our digital properties, and we were actually trying to figure out what is causing the problem, whether it's something that we are doing correctly, something to do with the third party APIs, or whether it's some of the other components that are being put on, and when we started adding on all these layers one by one, we actually got some great insights. See, first of all, the entire platform was pretty dashboard driven, right? So you don't have to really break your heads to see what you want to look at. And they have these very beautiful interface where you can drill down and go to the root cause of the problem. You don't have to go searching for information. A lot of things which are not working will actually come out as an alert right at the top, so you know as to what if somebody's. And there is another layer of the entire business journey which is also now getting added on, some part of it is already added on, where in case you do want to know if a specific user had a problem and you want to kind of trace out the problem for that specific user, that also is possible. So these things, these insights will not come to you otherwise, right? I mean, somebody will just tell you, hey, I couldn't do the transaction, and you'll wonder as to why, what happened wrong.
Right.
You may get some logs as to the transaction just failed, but what caused the failure is something that you will never come to know. But then you need to work together with the partner who's doing the solutioning, as well as with the development teams, because they also need to plug in some scripts to make this information come out on those dashboards, right? Otherwise, it's like garbage in, garbage out kind of a scenario. But thankfully, with City, we have had some good success story at our end, and we've been actually been able to showcase to the management where the problems were, and we actually started writing to the right teams, like, hey man, you need to improve, you pull up your socks at your end, and this is the, and could give them enough and more evidences which were actually missing earlier. Otherwise, it was just ping pong, right? We telling them, you please look
Right.
into your area, they telling us, hey, you look into your area. So those communications are much more clear in terms of as to who needs to do what. So these insights are very useful, and obviously, yes, we are gradually moving on to the next layer of the AIOps thing, which we have been engaging with since they're already CB is the partner who's been already doing it for us. We want to look at the larger picture now, and that's the overall plan that we want to engage in.
Perfect. Thanks, Anand. Thanks for that insight. So, Ravi, coming to you, what according to you are the critical components of FSO, and if you could share a bird's eye view on each of
Depends on
those.
the application landscape. See, some people do it in public cloud, some people do it in private cloud, some people have, depends on the programming stack. There are a bunch of things, but bottom at the end of the day, they all boil down to, how is your application stack? How is what is it running on? Such as what kind of compute it is running on? what kind of network it is running on, and what kind of security infrastructure you have. So that determines the full scope of the telemetry that you have to gather. So when you talk about telemetry, we spoke about it as melted earlier, meaning metrics. Metrics will tell you about the performance of various systems. Event logs will tell you things that have already happened, and then traces will tell you what has been the experience and so on. So we need to do a detailed study of the environment and then determine which of these systems and subsystems are required. 90% of the time, more than half of these things will be already in place, but some things will not be there or they will not have been configured properly. So the good news is we can start with what is already there very quickly. And even as we are establishing the value of what is already possible, that itself can sponsor the case for how can we expand that. That's my point of view.
Okay, so coming to a closing thoughts, let me start with Vamsi, going all the way up to Anand and then Sushant and Ravi. What advice or steps would you give to enterprises when it comes to holistically approaching FSO? Vamsi, quick closing remark.
Yeah. So I think see it is not one size fits all, right? You got organizations which have 100,000 employees. I'm sitting in an organization that has just a single digit percentage of that, right? So you'll have to right fit the solution. You got solutions ranging from Dynatrace to whatnot, for APM, but then bringing everything dotted to your CMDB, etc. And therefore you get a holistic picture is one on the pure tech side. On the pure business side, today there's a lot more happening. You need to keep your ears open, eyes open, etc. Not everybody is going to complain. If you're only going to react to people who complain, then you'll only get so much. The more people expressing their opinions on social platforms, your social listening, while your tech is listening to what's happening on your servers, network, etc., there's a social listening that's required, right? Whether it is Twitter, whether it is your Play Store, you go to Play Store. I run a 4.5 star app, but notwithstanding that, and I've been doing now, we have been on 4.5 star for as long as I remember, with one dip that has happened, in the vintage that I've had. Despite that, I can dig out enough issues that are posted on Play Store. So what we have also started doing is to institutionalize a social listening team, who actively trace all these things that are posted on, Play Store to WhatsApp to Twitter to all Facebook to all these channels, integrate also get that streamed into one platform where we can kind of run some models around it. So I'm not going to claim that we have cracked it, but that's a very humble attempt that we are doing to synthesize all this unstructured data that we get from social platforms and see therefore what is your generic customer voice there. Yeah. So I think that that's something that we are focusing on.
Anand?
Yeah, I guess, see, proactive is the way, honestly. You can't be reactive to issues. I think it's very essential that you keep monitoring or keep observing and get those alerts in time so that you are able to take those corrective actions before any mishap happens, right? Today, the customer out there is clearly not having the patience to sit and, wait for the website to load forever, login time takes forever and stuff like that. So, it may be there is some campaign that is happening and you are not probably scaled up enough for such kind of traffic that may be coming in. So how do you ensure that these things are all managed properly? So proactive is the way, and these kind of platforms are only I guess they are going to be very soon very hygiene. They are not something very optional going forward. More like a cyber security where some of these platforms are going to give you and it's not just the customer experience, it's also the cyber security part and so many other things which cannot get layered. So the same SOC logs and all also are part of all of this. So very very essential to have these platforms in place, especially when you scale up and go to the direction that you want.
Perfect. Ravi?
See, the general question I have had, I would say 60% of the time is, hey, I already have so many tools. What will you do more than what I already have? A variation of that question is, will you find anything new? You are only looking at what I already have. I can do it myself. What will you do? I mean, these are the variations of the question, right? So, but it's also a question. It can be looked at as, where do I start? Should I start at all? Am I not good enough? But then at the same time, they'll be grappling with these questions, right? So I'll ask them back, can you tell me very quickly what is bothering your user sentiment or user experience? Then no. So that's how it is. So the closing thought with which I want people to go back with is um, we will all there are many systems which are telling where the problems are today, but there is no system which will tell you why the problem is. I said it before, I'm repeating it. Now, if we know the why, then you can fix it quickly. And we have had success rate of reducing the noise and looking at what is the real root cause up to 50-60% of the noise, meaning I can get there uh, twice as fast as otherwise if I have the solution, if not more.
Sushant, before we go on quickly for a Q&A, yeah.
No, I second what Anand and what Vamsi and what Ravi said. One organization have their own priorities. Basis their priorities, they should define the roadmap. And like Anand said, it's very soon. It will not be optional. It is going to be an important and a critical platform service to have in your organizations. And accordingly, one should plan to have a full stack observability service in their organizations.
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen, for this lovely fireside chat. We are really running out of time, but there are a lot of interesting questions which have come in. So let me quickly try and take some of those. Sushant, Ravi, if you can take this question. I'm not going to try and bring the speaker here. This is coming in from Shashank Jain. Each security application generates 15,000 event logs weekly, means 60,000 per month. If Cisco have multiple security application which is required for business safety, it will be just impossible to handle large numbers of logs. What solutions if we have to look only very critical logs to see first and take necessary action?
I will answer. I will
Uh,
answer that. I got the question. So the idea is
yeah.
the strategy or idea that we have to do this correlation is not new. It's been there before I started programming 33 years ago. It is there today. So what has changed? What has changed is the availability of AI technologies, the availability of massive scale data platforms. So there are techniques with which we can eliminate noise. As I use the word eliminate noise, and then focus on what is the real root cause. So I will leave it at that. Meaning the technology available today will help us do this better.
Okay. This is question which is coming from Rajesh Katuria. He says, what about TAT on full approach? Does it drop to 50% post execution or usage? Sushant, Ravi.
Can you repeat the question, please?
It says, what about TAT on full approach? Does it drop to
Turnaround time.
50% turnaround time?
Turnaround
Yeah,
time.
yes, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're asking how can I reduce the turnaround? How am I claiming the turnaround time is
No,
coming down?
does it, no, he's saying, does it drop to 50% post execution or usage of FSO?
Yeah, you can
See, it
find
is
things
like I
faster.
said, it is very, yeah, go ahead, Ravi.
So we can find things faster if you don't look at unnecessary events, but you only look at things which are necessary. And how many things am I removing? I am saying I am removing at least up to 50% of the mm, consequential events, not causal events. I'll go look for the cause rather than the consequence. So what is noise? Because of the cause, there will be thousand things which are consequences. I will not look at them.
Sushant,
That's
you
how
want
we
to add to
reduce.
that?
No, that is fine. That's exactly I wanted to say,
Okay.
which is fine, what Ravi said.
Okay, let me try and just push in one last question. This is coming from Senthil. Is there any special AI-based intelligence that helps FSO to reduce false positives in logs that it generates?
Exactly. So what we are doing is we are learning from what is happening. We understand the context of the application infrastructure and the business transactions, everything. And we are constantly trying to build models that would be specific and relevant to that business for which we are doing this. In the same business also for different business, different transactions, different contexts, we are building the models and refining them as every day.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. We are bang at 5 o'clock. That's time. That's all that we can have time for any more questions now. So on that note, thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Vamsi. Thank you so much, Anand, Ravi,
Thank
and
you.
Sushant, for your wonderful insights and perspectives. So on that, on behalf of the entire team at SIFI and One-to-One Connects, thank you for your participation throughout the event and look forward to seeing you again at our next program. This is Rupesh
Thank
Sridharan
you.
signing
Thank
off.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great
Thank you,
evening
Anand.
ahead.
Thank you,
Thank you
Vamsi.
so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Rupesh.
Sure.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye.